It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the second day of the International Conference, Congress After the Congress, at the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the Congress of Ljubljana, or then Laibach. Today's papers will be dedicated to the diplomatic aspects of the Congress, and it is great honor to welcome the first among the current Slovenian diplomats, the Slovenian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Anže Logar, and I ask him for the opening address.
Spoštovana gospa Dr. Petra Svoljšak, dear Ambassador, distinguished scholars, I'm delighted to launch the third Slovene-Austrian Conference on Diplomatic History, in particular as its topic is a high anniversary of an important conference that took place on our soil 200 years ago. The previous edition in the series of Slovene-Austrian Conference on Diplomatic History, which I had the honor to introduce last October, dealt with another significant anniversary, that of 100 years of the Carinthia plebiscite. In my address at the occasion, I underlined the exceptionally strong links between Slovenia and Austria that are without parallels in Central Europe. A century earlier, the Slovenian leaders were an integral part of the Habsburg Empire, so much that Ljubljana merited to be another venue in the series of the Congress meetings. As Professor Dimitri Rupel, the long-year Minister for Foreign Affairs, noted, Austrian politics was then also Slovenian politics. There were a number of reasons for the choice of Ljubljana as the venue of the meeting of the Holy Alliance. Friedrich Baron Gentz, the secretary to the Ljubljana Congress, wrote to his contact in Vienna about Ljubljana being the, I quote, true focal point of Europe. At the same time, the provincial tranquility charmed Gentz to the extent that he saw Ljubljana, again, as the only point on earth that pleases me. He also noted that Ljubljana is such a healthy place that during the Congress, none of the participants fell ill. Well, this was long before the COVID time. To be honest, and as explained by Vladimir Schenk's study of the Congress of Ljubljana, by the way, Dr. Schenk wrote the study in the midst of the Second World War occupied Ljubljana. It was its relative anonymity that made Ljubljana an attractive place for the gathering. But not only that, Ljubljana was also conventionally close to Italian lands and therefore on the route to Naples. Our Mediterranean dimension was thus recognized even then. Add to that person of Ioannis Kapodistrias, a leading personality of the Congress, a Greek whose family originated from copper at our Adriatic coast. As Professor Andrei Rahten writes, despite the pleasant climate of Ljubljana, Klemens Metternich, the most important diplomat at the Congress, did nurture a bit of regret for even milder weather of the Slovenian littoral Gorica, that was at the same time contemplated, but it was deemed too small to house all the delegates. 15 years later, the last Bourbon King Charles X died, and he was buried in the monastery of Kostanjevica near Gorica on the Slovenian soil. Moreover, the head of the French delegation at Ljubljana Congress, Duke of Blanchard, who accompanied the king as loyal minister, was also buried there. The Congress left its traces. One of the central squares in Ljubljana was named Congress Square, a small pavilion erected by the citizens of Ljubljana in honor of Emperor Francis still stands there. A table used during Congress dances was recovered and beehives painted with Congress motifs. The symmetry returned to Ljubljana, or, to be fair, to the Brdo Congress Center. Many years later with Bush-Putin meeting in 2001, and then with high-level meeting during our first EU presidency in 2008. And now, the 200th anniversary of Ljubljana Congress conveniently coincides with our second EU presidency in the second half of this year. Although we live under no illusion of historic decision to be made during Slovenia presidency, there is no shortage of challenges in the current international and security environment, perhaps even comparable to those from the 1821. This is why another interesting comparison comes to my mind reading the accompanying study of Professor Rechten. Rasen Tsar was not alone among the participants of the Ljubljana Congress to believe that his was a mad word. We may not have much sympathy for the rationale behind this conservative thinking, but against the background of the cultural wars of our times and the dangers of left and right-wing populism, we may still agree with his quest for new order, new system, inspired by wisdom, rationality, justice, and remedy. After all, we talk all the time about the need for an effective multilateralism, rule of law, social justice, and liberal democracy. Things that the masterminds of the Ljubljana Congress would, of course, have very mixed feelings about. But we can agree with them that very often ours is a mad world too. I'm grateful to Slovenska Matica and to the Research Center of the Slovenian Academy of Science and Arts for organizing the conference, as well as for their engagement in the study of this fascinating piece of diplomatic history. I also wish to thank all of you that will look at the Ljubljana Congress from a various perspective. My special thanks go to the editors of the new edition of the 1944 study of the Ljubljana Congress, published in the Studia Diplomatica Slovenica series. 200 years ago, we were mainly a host, a pleasant host of an event. This event, however, helped to shape us and contributed to the way we are today as a nation and a society. Not anymore just a host, but a fully fledged part of another alliance, the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for sharing your thoughts and time with us. The Minister is, as I know, in a hurry and he might leave us very soon. So thank you once again, and we wish you a good and successful work in the coming events of the Slovenian presidency of the Council of Europe. The second day, as the Minister has already mentioned, of the conference represents also the third Slovene-Austrian bilateral conference on diplomatic history, a special form of cooperation between Österreichisches Kulturforum in Ljubljana and Milko Kos Historical Institute of Research Center of the Slovenian Academy of Sciences and Arts. In previous occasions of the centenary of the plebiscite in Carinthia, as the Minister already mentioned, we had the pleasure to welcome the Minister Logar and Her Excellency Elizabeth Ellison Kramer, Ambassador of Austria in Slovenia. Her Excellency, I ask you for the welcome address again.
Thank you very much. Dobro jutro. Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Presidency, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen of the academic community, and all participants to this important event. I am very happy that this conference is taking place, and I thank in particular all organizers. It is an honor and a pleasure to address you today in remembrance of this 200-year anniversary of the Congress of Ljubljana, an important event in our long common history. In the years 1820 to 1821, the representatives of the European powers met in Troppau Opava and in Ljubljana to address a political crisis. The Congress had to resolve the question of how to react to constitutional revolution in the Kingdom of Sicily. The negotiations were based on various alliance treaties concluded in 1814 with the aim to secure peace and prosperity for the continent after the disastrous effects of revolutions and the Napoleonic Wars. And I congratulate the organizers of this series of events of diplomatic conferences, because only those who are ready to deal with their own history have a chance to draw the right conclusions for the future, and historians have a crucial role in this process. And it is indeed fascinating for us diplomats and historians to follow the deliberations of these important diplomatic conferences. What was the argument brought forward? Which tactics were applied? Who profited from the situation and who lost? First and foremost, we want to explore thoughts that still could be relevant for us today on one hand, and how the changes introduced directly or indirectly by the course of events still influence our thinking as well as the political map today. Fortunately, we have come far in our actions. Vienna of the 21st century no longer crashes revolutions outside, and in our acceptance of the ideas of liberalism that were developed at the time. 200 years later, in July this year, Slovenia will assume the presidency of the Council of the European Union. And again, Ljubljana will be the center of important deliberations to find solutions for a better and more prosperous future. The capital and other beautiful places close by will host representatives of important European powers for dialogue and negotiations. There is a new framework. There are new pertinent challenges to be resolved, like climate change, digitalization, the role of the European Union in the world, as well as economic and other recovery, overcoming the terrible COVID-19 pandemic. Let us hope that we all will profit from the lessons learned during the last years, that we only can win if we take the battle on together in mutual support. Let me take also the opportunity to wish Slovenia all the best for the upcoming presidency and assure you of my country's full support. To all the participants, I wish very good continuation of deliberations and discussions during the second day of the conference. I thoroughly regret that we cannot all meet in person and be in Ljubljana, as the city is so lovely and beautiful, especially at this time of the year, as I'm sure it has been 200 years ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for this really inspiring speech. So after the honorable speeches, it is time to start with the working part of the conference. Before I introduce our first guest, I would like to thank the participants, the panel chairs, and the co-organizers for an excellent and efficient cooperation. We regret the fact that we still cannot meet in person, but the occasion does not permit for a considerable delay. The 200th anniversary is expiring in the next days, and the circumstances of the pandemic are uncertain to the extent that we have gave up our hopes for live conference and decided for a more secure, though quite impersonal version of the conference. Well, before we start, some technical information for the audience. The questions can be put in chat. If anybody prefers asking questions in person, just put it in chat and we will provide for your voice to be heard. And please, we have already done it, but please let's mute ourselves when not performing.